Okay. And then we assign style so we can pass it in without needing to create an instance. So that's a class variable. And then this is where we run in and get inputs. So it's already been initialized here. You call a class variable here to assign another class variable. So it's a class method to assign the style to it permanently. So it knows. And then you tell it to run. So this is kind of the main function, and it maybe should be called main. Let's make a note of that. Is that normal? Is that good practice? To call it son of a bitch. Sorry. Is that what you like? Is that what you're into? I don't know. Let's talk about that. Talk to someone with knowledge about this practice. So I like the name run and get inputs because it's telling you exactly what it's doing, and then it passes those bad boys to the user input object. The user input object processes some of that data, so it's been separated from the input. It's on, they give it the raw inputs, and it does some processing, and then it assigns style. So you're telling it, hey, now that this object exists, because you didn't create it here from its own class, the class user input object is called inside of GUI object, and it passes it out, and then it does the thing it's created to do, which is process data, which it hasn't had to need style for yet for some reason in this case, but maybe we should put it before. Let's just fuck it. There is no God. There we go. Rock and roll. Scene object, assign user input object. Now this user input object exists. It does what it had to do. We give it to the scene object, which is where a lot of magic happens. From there, some of this is redundant, and it's like, God, geez, this is annoying, but it's and it is, and maybe this stuff shouldn't all be class methods. Leave a comment, in the comments below. Style.prepare text. Assign user input object. This is some like middling stuff, and it's important that it's out here in main so that you know what's going on, but it's like that probably could be done a little differently. I'm not sure. Love to chat about it. Anyways, create an import object. What is an import object instead of a user input object? So now it knows which data it needs to go get. Here it goes and it gets it. So this is just passing in like, hey, which files did you tell us we should use? How are we choosing the plugins, pretty much? So this should say like, let's put this sanitize inputs. Choose plugins. So this is where it's like the plugin override thing. That's where that happens. Let's just destroy this. Let's leave it there for a second. Okay, user input object. Not even gonna go look for it. I'll just ask it here. Dot process data. There she is. Nope, that's in main. I need the real thing. Oh, it wouldn't be called that way. It would be called like that. There she is. And then I'm going to go ahead and change the name. Leave this for a second, just because until I get used to it. I'll come back and clean that up later, I promise. I'll get annoyed with it. Left 4 notes. Nah, just delete it. You don't need it anymore. You're done. Boop. And delete it here, because we really don't need that anymore. Save. One problem I do run into using both programs is sometimes I open main to do edits over here, and then you have 2 mains. Yeah, it's happening right now. Let's just look for a second. Make sure they're both... Maybe they've updated, because sometimes VS Code actually updates it. What have we done? Sanitize. Sanitize. Good, it updated. Love it. Delete it. Kill it. This one, save it. So that's a change we made. Let me go ahead and go over here. Do some...